lot of ways, I think, especially with young adult children, we kind of have to take that roommate approach. Be like, hey, great, you're paying rent, but that means you're a roommate. And in a roommate situation, you have to clean up after yourself because I'm not your maid. Unless you want to pay me, then great, I'll clean up after you. If you pay me extra, you got to do your own laundry, right? We have to make it real to life and use real life situations. Okay, she's saying, does this apply to 14-year-olds? I would say no.
That's where it starts.
It's where they can start to be more responsible for some of those things. It kind of goes back to the privileges and responsibility. I'd say at 14, they're still earning privileges by doing their responsibility. Part of the point is following through. We were in the midst of moving, and the other day our son didn't want to help, and Greg told him that was his choice, but if so, he was going to go without eating, and he did. He had to go without eating, but it's done in a playful way. They don't love it, but they know that we still love them. It's not like you're this monster, like threatening them. It's providing real world consequences that, hey, and showing them through example. I would rather sit on the couch right now too, but this is the work that needs to be done. And the reward for all of us doing the work is we get to have pizza, right? That's the reward. If you don't want to participate in the work, you also don't get the rewards. It's a little red hen. I guess the point is, again, you have to use your own wisdom, but depending on the child, you do have to get stricter and stricter consequences. If kids don't respond out here, if you're like no TV and that doesn't motivate them, you have to keep tightening those privileges. And so even to the point where we've said to our kids, if you don't wash your dish, I'm not going to feed you next time. Because unless you clean up after yourself, you don't get to eat. So we kind of bring it back. We bring it back to make it relevant. Eating makes a mess in the kitchen and uses dishes. So if you want to eat, you have to participate in the cleaning because I'm not the maid and I can't do it all. We don't do this in mean, controlling ways because I can totally see how this could come across in a dictatorial, like we are the law. No, we rarely take that approach. We like to have fun and we actually give our kids a lot of free reign. And if you asked our kids if we were strict, they would say no. But that's because we are willing to be strict when necessary. If those kids are pushing the boundaries and they're not helping out and they're not contributing, we tighten up so that they can then earn back the freedom because they realize we're willing to be serious and enforce consequences when necessary, if that makes sense. And then we don't have to because they know that we will. Part of my approach personally is to help when I need their help. So I am pretty lax. Like, our kids are pretty free with their time and how they choose to use it, but they also know that when I ask for their help, I need it. Now I also don't require them to, if I ask, they have to get up at that second and do it that moment.
Right.
Because I don't do that. And Greg doesn't, hey, can you help me with this? Yeah, when I'm done. So we have that kind of relationship, but they also know that if they don't get it done, then that privilege they're enjoying at the moment is going to be temporarily removed until they get it done, if that makes sense. But they do also have their charts, so they know what's expected of them. Like my 13-year-old son, he has a chart that has all his studies on it, and then also has a section that says, check your chore chart and work on your chores. And he has a list of a whole bunch of chores he can choose from with how much I pay for each of them. So he basically goes through and is like, oh, I'm going to do this chore today. And then he goes and does it. And, and then besides that, if I ask him to do something, then he's just expected that he's going to do it.